Anything great? Lunch, maybe? A little bit of lunch? Maybe they got a little bite of food in there, Robbie? Maybe. Did you get the bar yet over here? I'm curious about food bar. And cafe. I said you should go to the cafe for it, not the cafe for it. No, a bar person. I wish someone to come out right now. Yeah, but I mean, I think you're going to be disappointed when we're about to happen. I think there must be a misprint in your schedule, because I don't think you were gathered in here for this person if who you think is coming out is coming out. It doesn't make any sense. It seems to be a full house. It doesn't compute. Yeah. Oh well, listen, you're screwed up. Whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Misha. I was backstage, and Misha was back there, and we're chatting, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? He goes, my panel's next. I'm like, I know, I repeat the question, what are you doing? and he said, I think we'll go on time. And I'm like, well crap, we had to sit the band down, talk to them about what the scenario might look like.
Where I consider on time when you guys have been out here stretching for some
after our 10 minutes Nation song.
Yeah, so that's great. It's very awkward.
Well,
I mean, we don't have anything to say to each other.
No, usually I can give you a hard time about being late, and you will apologize. Now,
I brought two jackets. One is a blue denim jacket, one is a black denim jacket. And last night, I was having dinner with Jensen, and I noticed he had his blue denim jacket, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna wear my blue denim jacket. That'll be embarrassing. Matt Cohen, Rich, myself, and Jensen are all wearing black denim jackets. It's like a uniform.
It's some sort of poorly organized military outfit. You'll be seeing a lot of black denim today.
We're also all wearing black lace-up boots. It's a little creepy.
We spent an awful lot of time together. Speaking of time, I'm not going to waste any more of yours. Good people of the UK. Misha Collins.
Oh my goodness, this place is huge. There's a lot of, how's it going? You know, it's interesting seeing these Brits who often, there's several who you guys come to the States to see us at conventions, and now we're on your home turf. And you have a certain swagger here. You're sort of commanding. Oh wait, you're not. We're jet lagged instead of you being jet lagged. It's unfair. Yeah. What's that? Now we know how you feel. That's right.
Oh, they had a liquid.
Miserable. Hi everyone. Whoa.
I think you're okay.
I've had this long running thing about how I have sort of a torrid relationship with your queen. And I was posting about it yesterday, and I suddenly got nervous. Like, I was thinking, one of these days, someone's gonna be like, you know, that guy, shut him down, don't let him in the country anymore. He's creeping on our queen. But I'm not gonna stop. But anyway, there was a thought that flew through my mind. Yeah, all right. I mean, I have stories to tell you. What do you guys want to talk about? Stories. What? Yeah. Don't yell at me and unison. How did you coordinate that? Yeah, we have this new app for Gish, and which has been renamed by just cutting it in half. It used to be GishWiz, and now it's just Gish. But the app shows you where all the other people on the app are, sort of, because the app sort of doesn't work too. And And it's kind of amazing, like I opened up the app in Bellingham, Washington, and I was like, oh my God, there's a lot of creepy weirdos in my area that I didn't know about. So that's fun, it's fun to play with. It's really like cumbersome, you have to chat by country, which is basically an impossible way to communicate. And we have a fix for it. And I was like, don't fix it. Don't fix it yet. It's so fun and it's so annoying. So that's a little insight into my brain. Yep. I can tell you about my children, whom I miss, that's boring. Yeah, we'll get into that. All right, I'm gonna let you guys ask me questions. Do you have one? I see that you're standing in the microphone.
It's just like microphones.
That was amazing.
It's just come out with that Avengers movie, and without spoiling anything, Star-Lord and Thor have a voice-off. Between Castiel, Dean, Thor, and Star-Lord.
Wait, so I haven't seen it, so you're gonna, without spoiling it, do they try to out macho one another?
Star-Lord feels emasculated. Basically when Thor comes on board because he's got very deep
Okay,
voice.
so sort of like Dean when Castiel came on board.
Yeah. So between Castiel, Dean, Thor, and Star-Lord, who do you think would win in the voice-off?
Well, so I don't know Star-Lord or Thor's voices, so it's hard for me to really weigh in with authority, but I would say Castiel. I definitely noticed that when I came on the show, all of a sudden Jensen's voice dropped a bit when he was playing Dean. I think if you watch episodes of Supernatural, you'll see that the scenes that Castiel and Dean are in together, both voices drop a little bit because we're like getting competitive with each other. Dean's voice is definitely squeakier. Just saying. And by the way, I think Jared's getting in on it a little bit too. I've noticed that he started to drop his voice too. So it's either that or we've all hit puberty, which may be the case. And then there was Mark Shepard, of course, who he really threw a monkey wrench into the works because his voice is maddeningly deep, and it's very hard to go below that. I'm tempted to tell you something that I don't think I've ever shared before. Okay, so when I do the cast voice, sometimes I go lower than my voice actually goes, and it causes this weird sort of like clicking, rattling sound, like a viper or something, and it's coming from my throat. And the sound mixer on our show, this was like season 5, he's like, I don't know what to do, like, we're getting this weird interference. And so we bought new microphones. And it was still happening, and so he repatched his board, and it was still happening, and then he was like, fuck, it's just coming from your voice, Misha. You're doing weird shit. And so they in post sometimes, when my viper sound comes out, they have to go in and like paint out in the sound files these little clips that come from my voice because it's unnatural what I'm doing for me. My natural voice, as you can hear, is quite squeaky. So when I do that, you asked for it, I'm just rambling. All right, I'll move on to my question. Yes?
I've always wanted to go to America, and I'm finally going to go this summer, and I'm just wondering if you could tell me where I should go. Where's the best place to go?
You're going to go to the States, and you don't have an itinerary for it?
I'm flying into New York.
Flying into New York?
That's
It's a quaint town. I would recommend you spend the entire time in South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Detroit. Go to Detroit. Go to a water park.
So you're going to New York? Where else?
DC, I think. I want to see the Washington Monument.
You want to see if you can get Trump's signature or something?
I want to go to a place.
Trump is super popular over here, right?
places where they filmed Avengers because I'm a huge fan.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna go to the monument.
You guys realize this is not an Avengers movie? Was it false advertising or something? Come see the Avengers!
It's a big hit, so a lot of us like it.
Okay.
A lot of us like you as well.
Don't throw me your scraps of compliments. So,
I had to think of a question on the spot, right?
so you had to think of a question on the spot? Weren't you lining up for like 20 minutes over here?
My name came up on the board.
Oh, I see.
And yeah.
And you didn't really have a question, so now you're panicking.
I don't know.
You're starting to talk about Avengers like the other woman.
Yeah,
Is that what happens? Like Brits when they're nervous talk about Avengers?
Amazing.
but it was, yeah, anything good to do in New York.
You want tips for what to do in New York? The British Quarter in New York is amazing. Never mind, doesn't exist. No, I have no tips for you. DC is great. I think you're gonna love it.
Not the White House.
Go to the White House.
Go to the White House.
Yeah.
And?
Just sort of scowl at it.
Okay. I can do that.
Every once in a while, the White House is, very well fortified. There's Secret Service all around it, and all kinds of cameras and secret tunnels. I interned at the White House for Bill Clinton many, many years ago, and it is really it's a bunker in a lot of respects. But every once in a while, somebody tries to attack the president in the White House, and they do remarkably well. Like they make it all the way up the front steps, or they land a plane right in the backyard. So it's like, how is this security? But people seem to get through it all the time and shoot the White House and stuff like that.
So you want me to do that, yeah?
I'm not going to go on the record asking you to shoot the White House.
Okay.
But if you end up making that choice while you're visiting, that's your business. Now I'm worried that I'm not going to get back in the States. Please do not shoot at our president or his house. I'm just going to say that on the record, unless you choose to. Okay. You're welcome for those hot tips on travel.
Hi, Misha.
Hi there.
I'm quite a fan of the humor sense and I should say adventures.
They thought you were going to say you were a fan of the Avengers. That you missed an opportunity.
I'm going to be hated by the whole place. I've never seen one Avengers.
Oh, get out of our convention!
And you're going to hate me even more because I'm French and my French president is now your president's new best friend.
BFF. Yeah, but he's just winking and nodding. I don't think anyone thinks that they're really friends.
No,
Except for Trump. Trump believes it, but nobody else does.
I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, Human Cast. I really enjoyed the arc of Human Cast, and I think it was quite heartbreaking and beautiful all at once. Do you think that if Cass was to become human now and stay in the bunker with 17 instead of being thrown in the wild, how would that go and would that be different for him?
How would it go for Cass if he was Sam and Dean's housewife in the bunker?
Yes.
I don't really know where to go with this. I do think that if Cass were human, had no special powers, and were bunking up in the bunker, he would probably be relegated to doing a lot of housework. Because Cass ultimately, powerless Cass, human Cass, doesn't bring a ton to the table. I mean, when you look at it from a Hunter perspective, I think that, you know, the real advantage to having Cass on the team is that he's an angel. In spite of his being such a fish out of water and him being so naive in so many respects, he still can be an asset on the team because he has all of these powers. But if you take Cass's powers away from him, then you just have a weird dude who's slowing you down. So I think they make him do a lot of laundry. Probably.
I have terrible images of Cass in French made up.
I've read that fic.
Terrible or beautiful? Hello.
Hello.
What is your favorite Avengers movie?
I haven't seen it.
What? Careful, don't say that in this crowd.
Watch Supernatural.
You're winning me over, but they're gonna slash your tires.
Castiel hasn't driven the Impala yet. Do you think Dean doesn't trust him?
Do I think Dean what?
Castiel hasn't driven the Impala yet. Do you think Dean doesn't trust him?
Yes. Thank you. I do imagine that there will be a scene at some point where Cass drives the Impala, but it'll probably be like Cass got really drunk. He drank at another liquor store. And he's like, I'm gonna do a joyride, and everybody's like, no, you probably don't want a drunk driving scene with Cass. I don't know. I do wonder if he's ever going to get his turn behind the wheel. It would be fun. It'd be fun for me.
Is that a euphemism?
You know, the show is kind of funny in terms of transportation because these guys are always on the most epic road trip ever. It's always like, all right, let's drive across the country. We're picking up something on the wire that's in South Dakota, so we got to get there. It's going to be a 2-day drive. If you're driving a 1960s classic car, you're not going to be driving 2 days and have it not break down. They need a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic or something like that. A reliable car that gets good mileage that they can drive these long hauls on. So it's very impractical. And then when Cass jumped into the fray and lost his wings and now Cass needed a way to get around, Cass got a 1970s Pintmobile, the only other equally impractical car imaginable. And then when that didn't work out for him, he got this old beat-up pickup truck. It's like, they're not thinking about the vehicles that they're driving at all. And I think that's frustrating. It makes me not believe the show.
Everything else.
I mean, I can buy that, you know, they're being attacked by werewolves or vampires or, you know, the Leviathan, and that, you know, the gates to purgatory have been opened and then closed again. I buy that. I don't buy that they drive around in these old cars. It makes it very hard to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, when you got the script at the end of last season and you knew you were getting killed off, did you really know that you were going to come back this season, or did you really think that that was it?
I did not know.
So you really just, it was just a surprise to you as to us when you did come back?
You know, when I first got on the show, I would read scripts very nervously. Every time I got a new script, I'd be like, oh, please, no, I hope they're not going to kill me. And then, you know, the first time that they killed me, it came up in the script, and I was like, oh, I knew it. And then 2 pages later, I was alive again, and I was like, oh, wait, okay. And so I've gone through that cycle a lot of times and become emotionally dead inside. But when I read that Cass was being killed at the end of season, whatever that was, 12, I didn't know. And I waited, I didn't want to be that guy that like calls down to the writers and says, hey, just out of curiosity, you know, I have a family. And so I just waited, and then a couple months after the first draft of the script came out, Bob Singer said, "Yeah, you're all right." That was the only tip he gave me. Like, "You're all right. You're gonna be all right." And I was like, "Okay, I think that means I'm still alive."
Did you think, Jensen, when you let it out last season that you were actually coming back?
That was Jared.
Yeah, it's Jared, sorry,
Yeah, he's the tall one.
Yeah. So did he know before you or did?
No, we all knew at that point. And then he fucked up.
But I'm glad he's still around.
Thank you very much. That's very sweet of you to say. Hello.
Hi, Lucy. I was just going to ask, have there been any scenes over the season that got really sort of cut short and you wish that hadn't been cut out or anything? Because I've seen Kaz saying, "Oh, we let Lucifer out," but Kaz let Lucifer out. And then on the last episode, it's not too spoilery, I felt Kaz and Gabriel weren't very angel-y.
Is that a performance note?
That's I just wondered if there were scenes that you felt like you wish hadn't had to be cut out, because there's obviously a lot of story going on.
What do you mean we weren't angel?
As if most people have seen it,
Alright, guys, let's just cut to the chase. Everybody does.
Somebody important needed some attention in the healing department, and some other people didn't come out and do that healing. And
wow.
no,
Testing.
there was a lot of story going on. I was wondering if there was an explanation that was.
So, I think we rationalized it, although I don't know that we totally explained it in the script, that we somehow have somehow diminished powers in the alternate universe. But it doesn't, totally make sense. I'll be honest.
By the way, the Impala is pretty reliable. I've done a road trip in one.
What's that? Wait.
Impala is pretty reliable. I've done a road trip in one.
Yeah, what year was it? Was it
67.
Oh, really? You got your hands on a 67?
Vegas to Dallas. My friend had one.
That's a long drive. And it didn't break down? Wow, well, that's a coup. So I didn't really answer your question, though.
No, you didn't.
No.
Oh, it doesn't necessarily have to be in that one, but have there been any scenes that have been cut that you wish that you could have sort of given a bit more explanation for, or the scenes that you wish could have been kept in, or that kind of thing?
Well, there was one scene. There was a scene, there was a diner scene in the Scooby Natural episode that was cut out. There was sort of a cast-centric scene, and that really breaks my heart, because I loved every second of that show. How many of you have watched Scooby-Doo? Not the Scooby Natural episode, Scooby-Doo. Like, a lot. Apparently even young people know what Scooby-Doo is. How's that possible?
Are you calling us old?
What?
Are you calling us old?
What?
Are you calling us old?
Yes, I'm calling you old.
It gets repeated.
I couldn't hear you. My hearing aid wasn't on, so I couldn't hear you. That episode was so cool to be a part of, and we had this very surreal experience of getting to watch it on big movie screen. It premiered at the Kodak Theater, which is the theater that they host the Oscars in. And so we were sitting, in the same room that the Oscars happened, watching our, ridiculous show on the big screen, and it was really cool. It was one of those pinch me moments. I just couldn't believe it. We were all kind of radiating with glee about that. And then we got to go up on the stage and answer questions and be interviewed about it. And that's the stage, where people accept their Oscars. And this was, I think we can all agree, a bigger deal than getting an Oscar. Yeah. I almost answered your question. I sort of did. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
First of all, I just want to say, like, kudos to all you amazing fans for coming up here, because my armpits are like 2 waterfalls, and my heart burst right through my ribcage, so I'm kind of shaking.
I get it. It's also like kind of a little hot in here. I'm sweating. I understand what you're talking about, and I'm surprised that people are so remarkably, consistently confident and well composed in these lines, because there's a lot of people watching you. People are videoing you. They're posting it on the internet right now. Like somebody is live streaming this. But ultimately, you have to think, like, probably tens of thousands of people are going to watch what you say right now. It's not just this room, but it's people all over the world. And if there's a gaffe, if there's some sort of mistake that you make or say something inappropriate, that will get more viewership, and then people will talk about it. They'll go viral, you know? So it's amazing to me how well composed people are in light of that fact, you know, that there are so many people all around the world judging them right now. Anyway, what's your question?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just, sorry? No question. I'm just curious because we all love you, we all love Cass, and you Cass came into the story a little later than the others. So I'm just kind of curious about the group dynamics. Have you ever feel like left out, or like you're third wheeling with Jared and Jensen?
Yeah? Thanks a lot. You know, it's funny when you come on a show where there's a tight cast. Like Supernatural had been running for 3 years by the time I got there, and everybody, it was a really tight crew. And Jared and Jensen were already kind of like brothers to one another. And when you come in and you're new into an environment like that, it's like being a new kid at school. You're trying to ingratiate yourself to people. You're trying to understand the hierarchies and, you know, who you don't want to get on the bad side of. And I, you know, I was like testing the waters. I kept reading the scripts thinking I was going to be killed. And then slowly over time, we have all just gelled and become more and more of a unit. And that goes for not just me, but most of the actors that you see here today, like, we're all tight. We're all on text threads with, you know, all 10 of us or whatever. Over time, we've just gotten closer and closer. So I am definitely a third wheel, but I feel like we, you know, that way it doesn't fall over. 2 wheels will tip over, but 3 wheels is a tripod effect and much more stable. No, I think we all like complement each other well, and all have developed a really strong friendship. I have a kind of weird thing that I do, which is, it's not that weird actually, everybody should do it. Every year I write out my goals for the coming year, and then I use that as sort of a guide for myself as I'm trying to figure out what projects I want to do or what choices I want to make over the course of the year. And it's a very effective tool for being productive, but also staying focused on the things that you care about. And the year that I booked Supernatural, I found this a couple of years later, because I write my goals and then I sort of forget about them. And I came back and found my goal card from that year, and I had written, I am a series regular. One of my goals was I'm a series regular on a TV show, and I make lifelong friendships with my castmates, which is a very, I think, strange thing to inject into that goal, but for some reason that's what I was feeling at that time, and I feel like that goal has 100% materialized. Yeah. So.
We can imagine Supernatural without you now. So.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yes, hi.
My question is, you played a lot of favorite versions of Castiel and characters in the series. Which one was the most funnest for you to play?
I think I liked playing Lucifer the most for some reason, but I have enjoyed all of the iterations in different ways. There's another one coming up. I know. I'm always nervous, like, is it going to be a complete train wreck or not? Probably, but we'll see. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hi.
Outside of the creations you've made in Cooking Fast and Fresh with West, what is the strangest food item you've eaten?
Well, there's been a lot of strange food in my house lately because Vicky and I are writing a family cookbook. And it's, loosely inspired by the Cooking Fast and Fresh experience that we had, but also just having, kids and having food be a part of our lives. And so we've been doing a lot of recipe testing and a lot of experimenting. And the kids are helping to create things as well as being guided a little bit. And we made pizzas recently, and the idea was to just put a topping on it that you've never seen. We have a project that we do in our kitchen sometimes, which is let's try to make something that no one has ever made before. And of course, with billions of people in the world, to make something that no one has ever made before, you're going to make something disgusting. And we had leftover pizza, so it was pizza base, but then we put leftovers from the fridge on top of it. And so we had Chinese food on pizza with cut up spring rolls and what is that? What's the Chinese noodle?
Yakisoba?
I don't know, but you said something actually Chinese. Thank you. Yes. Anyway, it was super, super disgusting. But it's been a kind of lovely. I mentioned this in my meet and greet, but I had a very lovely phone call from my wife maybe 10 days ago. She called and she said, I was just calling. I just wanted to thank you. And I said, oh, no, thank you. Because we'd had this conversation earlier in the day about a topic that we've been having some difficulty with, but she was very mature and navigated the conversation in such a way that we didn't get in a fight, which was a real triumph. And I said, thank you for so sort of conscious in that conversation that we navigated it very peacefully and productively. And she said, oh no, I wasn't calling about that. I thought you were a real asshole in that conversation. I was calling to thank you for bringing food in such a lovely way into our family. And I have always cooked, and I've always seen a part of the family unit as revolving around food. Like, we always sit down and have dinner together, and I usually cook it, and I always make, a breakfast, and it's often a complicated breakfast, before school. And I like packing the lunches, think about food, and it feels like something that brings the family together. And that's partly because I was raised in that environment. My mother cooked when we were kids, and food was a part of our family. And Vicky had a very different experience in her childhood. Her family, her parents didn't cook at all, and when her mom did try to cook, her dad would throw the food because it was disgusting, and it was like this weird, it was a weird sort of traumatic experience for her, and so she's avoided the kitchen and cooking altogether for many years, and is just now starting to cook things, and she's doing it to be lovely. And it was a very sweet moment, wishing that you could bring your food. It was just thank you for bringing food into our family in such a lovely way. I immediately teared up on the phone because Yes. This is going beautifully.
And then my dear friend Darius, he used to be a chef, and so I called him and I told him about it, and then he cried on the phone because he knows her well enough to know, yeah, double-fisted. Anyway, you opened a can of worms, and thank you. Thank you for bearing with me there. Hi, how are you?
Amazing, how are you?
Excellent, thank you.
So, thank you very much for coming to see us in the UK.
Thank you for allowing us to come into your country, in spite of all the things I've said about your team.
Anytime, trust me. So, it's my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So I was wondering, seen as Castiel is like Jack's adopted dad kind of thing, how would
Or possibly biological father.
Possibly biological, we don't know. But how would Cass treat Jack on his birthday? What kind of special day would he plan for him?
That is one of the weirder questions I've ever heard. Congratulations. I mean, I think that, like Jack, Cass is a bit of a fish out of water, as I've said. So he doesn't, I don't think, understand the traditions that, that birthdays bring with them. I think he'd probably mess it up in some way. I think, also, isn't Jack like 2? How old is he? 1?
He's not even 1.
He's 8 months, so he hasn't even had a birthday. And aging at the rate that he's aging, he might only have 1 birthday. I mean, that kid is growing up fast. No, I think it should be a real blowout. They could go and, like, I don't know, level a mountain or something like that for his birthday celebration. Him being a Nephilim, that's probably within the range of possibility. Yeah. What do you, I mean, Cass has never really, we never talked about Cass's birthday.
I imagine Cass probably doesn't have one. He was created before
Before the, all right, the calendar.
Birthday for him.
All right. What are you doing? Is today your birthday?
It is, yeah.
Wow. I'm sorry that you have to spend it like this.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Were you excited to find out that you were squandering your birthday here?
A little bit.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, all right. Well, happy birthday to you. What would you do with Jack on his birthday?
I'm not sure what
Keep in mind
it
he's
is
1.
uncanny to me the degree to which Alex and I look alike. Like if you look at a photo of me at his age, which is 40 years ago, we look identical. It's very strange. So, yeah, I pried a little bit, you know, as to where his mother was 9 months before he was born. Just because I was like, it'd be awkward to find out. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
This is actually a question from my dad. So
Oh.
we watched the show together.
Where's your dad? Is he here with you?
No, he's at home.
Okay. But you're serving as a proxy. Was he too shy to come?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right.
He wants to know how it feels when your character's dead for part of the season and what do you do between filming the episodes.
What do I do when my character is dead? You know, what a weird question. That's also a weird question. Good for you. Yeah, I have a lot of projects that I work on. So when I have time off, I actually can be even busier than when I'm shooting. And these days, I'm trying to carve out a little more time to spend time with my kids during those windows, because they're going to grow up and hate me soon, so I want to capitalize on this small window. But I work on little weird creative side projects and keep myself busy.
so that I don't think about my character's death too much, because it makes me too sad. Yeah. Thank you. Thank your dad for me, would you? Yeah. Yes.
Hi. It's been touched on a little already, but I'm curious as to know how much you guys know about the season's story arc before shooting begins, or whether reading a script is as exciting and surprising for you guys as watching the episodes for us.
Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting question. I think it actually can be kind of exciting to read a script, because you do feel like you're getting the scoop. You're seeing it before it happens. But I think we've all probably also gotten pretty good at visualizing what the show looks like and how the characters perform the scenes just by reading the scripts. So we kind of like get to play the show in our heads when we read the scripts. And it varies. I would say the beginning of the season we get the biggest lead. So sometime in June we will get typically 6 or even 7 outlines going forward. So we know, a third of the way through the season what that's going to look like. And then as the season goes by, the lead time dwindles, and we might only be 2 or 3 scripts ahead of where we're shooting at any given point. So we do have lead time. And we see drafts. So we see an outline, and then we see a writer's first draft, and then we see the studio network draft, and then we see the first draft, the production draft, and then usually there's blue pages, and then there's yellow pages, and green pages, and there's a lot of iterations of the script. But basically, usually the nut of the story is in that very first outline, and it doesn't change a ton, typically. How's that?
That's great. Thank you very much.
Totally earnest answer. Surprised me too. Hi.
I'm really nervous, sorry.
Oh. I won't taunt you like I did that other one.
So, if season 13 could go back to season 4 and give himself some advice, what do you think you would tell him?
Go back to heaven. Avoid these guys. And don't open the gates of purgatory. What's that? Avoid Naomi. Yeah, I mean, probably a lot of warnings.
Don't say yes to Lucifer.
Don't say yes to Lucifer, although I kind of enjoyed the ride a little bit. Yeah, I think early on, Cass was always trying to do the right thing. And then sometimes he made deals with the devil along the way because it felt expedient. And I think probably in hindsight, it would have been better in most of those cases for Cass to just stay true to doing the right thing and not make deals with the devil. I don't know how that would play out, but I have a feeling things might have been a little better. He has sort of nearly ruined the whole world a few times. So we should have a little compunction about that, but yeah.
Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you.
Misha?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was great.
They've been okay. It was great. I was a prick to them, but they were very nice to me. I know what to expect from you, but I'm glad that they ignored your attempts to lure them into a negative fray.
Yeah.
And stay positive. Classy move, UK. Round of applause for Mr. Misha. Do me a salad. We're not ready.